something's going on.
Can you hear me okay? No back, I don't hear anything, so we should be fine. Okay. So is it recording now? Can we go? Okay, great. All right, thanks, Tracy. All right, we will call the October 5th, 2021 Board of Works and Safety to order. Chris, are there any adjustments to the agenda or any announcements?
Nope.
Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to resolutions, we have a request to approve a design services modification of Oleo Road, Southeastern Parkway on 136th Street. Mackey?
Good morning. For the record, Assistant Director of Engineering. Before you is a request to approve the design services for the modification of Foley Road, Southeastern Parkway, and 36th Street roundabout. If you're not familiar, this is just east of 69 on exit 210. We were awarded by NDOT HSIP funds for this project, for the construction. It's a highway safety improvement project, which provides the city with 90% construction funding, and we are responsible for only 10% of that project. So this will take care of a lot of the confusion on that roundabout. There's an exhibit before you that shows the layout that we have proposed for that roundabout. We are in touch and constant communication with Hamilton County, because this is also bordering on their jurisdiction. And we also have discussions with the Hamilton County Surveyor's Office, because there is regulated drains in that area as well. So this here before you is the design services, which is awarded to A&F for design of this roundabout.
Becky, when's the schedule for this?
This is scheduled for late 23 money.
23, okay. Any additional questions for Becky on this? Yeah, it's obvious. It'd be a big win if we could get this done. Is Saxony up to speed on
They are.
the design
both,
concept?
Yes, the two hospitals in that area are
Okay.
both up to speed.
Awesome. Seeing no other questions or comments, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next is request to approve a resolution declaring certain city property as surplus. Don't believe Tabitha's here. Chris, you want to handle that one?
Sure. So for the record, Chris Greisel, City Attorney. The Department of Fleet is bringing forward several items for surplus. As usual, it's the first step before they trade in these vehicles for a further bid or purchase for newer equipment. So happy to answer any questions you have, but I'd expect to see all those items before you back in a future bid or quote.
Any questions or comments for Chris? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second? Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is a request to approve dedication of permanent easement for construction, maintenance, and use of public trail path. Mackey?
Again, good morning. For the record, I had Tim Mackey, Assistant Director of Engineering. And before you is a permanent easement for construction on Jehovah's Witness property. This is on Lantern, just north of Al Huda. As you are aware, we are looking at a lot of the gap analysis for the trails along the city, and this is one of them that we've identified. Al Huda has finished their construction this year and will also provide us with the trail along their property. North of Jehovah's Witness, we have trail that ties into Sunblessed there in that neighborhood, and this is the only gap that's available there, that's present there today. And this easement is to construct the trail sidewalk tying both of these sections together.
So, Becky, you said that this ties in, but on the map, it doesn't appear that
It doesn't
there's-
show the one to the north, but we
Yeah.
do have it currently built.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yes.
this is just an outdated
It doesn't, yeah, it
graphic.
doesn't.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Okay. Any additional questions for Becky? I appreciate your guys' work in trying to close some of these gaps so we can have better pedestrian connectivity. If there's no other questions, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second? Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We'll now move on to our 5G cell tower conversation. So for those residents here today, I appreciate your patience as we got through kind of the mundane business of the Board of Public Works and Safety. Chris, if you want to just give a bit of a preamble here on our consideration of these waivers, and then we'll move forward with Tammy's presentation.
Sure, happy to do that. For the record, Chris Greisel, City Attorney. As we've documented before with respect to the 5G process, the city's regulatory authority is limited and is largely preempted by federal laws, the board knows. Under the Telecommunications Act, Congress tasked the FCC with creating rules for the implementation of telecommunications consistent with the act, and when the FCC promulgates and adopts rules, they become legal requirements that must be followed. The Telecommunications Act specifically prohibits state and local governments from regulating the placement, construction, and modification of personal wireless service facilities on the basis of the environmental effects of radio frequency emissions to the extent that such facilities comply with the regulations contained within the Telecommunications Act. So in other words, the health and safety standards are completely regulated by the FCC to avoid a patchwork of state and local government laws governing these RF emissions. In Indiana, the placement of small cell facilities and the associated supporting structures in the public right-of-way are considered permitted uses, and they're exempt from local zoning review. If the total height of those structures supporting the small cell facility doesn't exceed the greater of 50 feet measured from grade, or the height of any utility pole in place on a certain date within 500 feet of that proposed small cell facility plus an additional 10 feet. With respect to the construction, placement, or use of small cell facilities and their supporting structures, the city's prohibited under both state and federal law from limiting the placement of those facilities by minimum separation distances or maximum height limitations, imposing unreasonable requirements regarding the maintenance or appearance of these facilities and the supporting structures, and prohibiting an applicant from locating a small cell facility or wireless support structure or utility pole in a residential area. Notwithstanding all of that, under Indiana law, as this board knows, the city has established a waiver process whereby telecommunication providers can seek to deploy small cell facilities in these residential areas through the process that was adopted by the board first as early as April of 2017 and since been subsequently amended.
Thank you, Chris. Tammy, you want to go ahead and present the first one, which I believe is Charleston Crossing. We'll go neighborhood by neighborhood.
Okay, yes, for the record, Tammy Houston, Engineering Department. Before you,
Can you make sure your microphone's on?
It's on. Can you hear
Okay.
me now?
There you go.
Okay. Before you is permit. Verizon Wireless has submitted for permits within Charleston Crossing. Verizon, the city officials, and the HOA from Charleston Crossing met the end of August. We talked about the three of these locations. For the most part, although the residents are not in favor of 5G within the neighborhoods, they are okay with the locations. The one location at 11503 at the intersection of Raleigh Lane, that one was brought up as several residents in that area had some concerns about the health issues. Other than that, they're in agreement with the locations. Verizon is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Tammy. Is there anyone from Charleston Crossing that would like to speak on these locations today? Seeing none. Is there any questions from the board to Tammy or to the petitioner? Seeing none, we'll consider the motion. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second? Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to Fishersdale.
Again, Tammy Houston, City of Fishers Engineering Department. Verizon Wireless has submitted a permit to construct a 5G small cell structure on Lantern Road within the Fisherdale subdivision. Letters were sent to residents within 200 feet of the proposed structure. We did not receive any comments from any of the residents. So the city staff is okay with the location.
Is there anyone from Fishersdale that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, the only question I had here, since this is on Lantern Road, are we requesting that it be lit?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then, you know, just anticipation of right-of-way, if Lantern was to expand, or sidewalks, or parking, or anything like that, they would just have to move this at their own cost if we came along and...
Yes, because it's in the right-of-way, so yeah,
Okay.
it would be.
All right. Are there any other questions for Tammy on Fishersdale? If not, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to Wildwood. Tammy?
Again, Tammy Houston, City of Fishers Engineering Department. Verizon Wireless has submitted several permits within Wildwood Estates for construction of 5G small cell structures. There are 8 locations. Majority of them are located at intersections, and also a majority of them are replacing existing streetlights. There are a couple of locations that they are not replacing the streetlights at the exact location due to, Verizon stated, due to trees in the area, but they are willing to remove the existing streetlights and place the 5G cell structure at another corner of that intersection, so they do not lose the light in that intersection.
So on the graphic that you have here, Tammy, the yellow versus blue, that's future versus intended?
The yellow are from neighboring subdivisions that have been permitted
Have been approved
previously.
already?
The blue ones are in review
Okay.
currently.
And so the blue ones, you said the majority of those are replacements for current streetlights?
Correct.
Are all of them replacements, or just
No,
the
there
majority?
are, there's one at the mid-block crossing, or mid-block at 11473. That is a new structure that is not replacing a street light.
Okay.
And then at 6544, that is not replacing a street light. There is no street light in that stretch either. And Verizon is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Is there anyone from Wildwood Estates that'd like to speak on this? There was a note in here that residents had requested that 11248 be moved across the street. Is that part of the conversation you had with the residents?
Yes, that one, there is an existing street light on the north side of the road. Verizon stated that they would not be able to replace it at that location due to trees in that area, but they are willing to remove the existing street light.
And put the
and
street
put
light on the other
street light
side?
on this corner.
And that was not ideal, but were the residents okay with that suggestion?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Tammy on Wildwood?
On 11397, there's what appear, it's vague, but it appears to be like a street sign, or I don't know if it's a stop sign or something. I mean, on the, again, not noticing the orientation, but using the south as the bottom of the picture, the northeast corner of that intersection. East 11397.
Well, I'm sorry, what was the question?
There's something, it looks like a pole or something, or a post or something that's right there.
I know that one is replacing an existing streetlight
Okay,
on that southeast corner.
okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to Heritage Meadows. Tammy?
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers Engineering Department. Heritage Meadows had come before you last year about this time for 3 other locations. This particular location at 8564 Morgan Drive was not brought to you at that time. Verizon has since submitted the permit for that location. We did meet with an HOA member the beginning of September. The HOA had originally requested that the proposed small cell structure be moved to the east to replace an existing streetlight near the trail. Verizon had stated that that was too far away from their coverage objective to be able to move there. The HOA was okay with the location on the northwest corner of that intersection. There's not a window on that south side of that house, and I believe it is across the street from a driveway on the south side. Verizon is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Is there anyone here from Heritage Meadows that would like to speak? Yes, sir. Come on up. If you could just state your name for the record, I'd appreciate it.
My name is John Hughes. I'm a resident, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting in this a little bit later, but I just want to be clear where we're placing the 5G tower. We live right on land or on Fisher's Point, and there's only 2 homes. And my understanding that it was going to be placed right in front of our house. And I was wondering if that is the case, then if it could be moved further down where there is no houses there. So I'm just not clear.
Maybe orientate me a little bit more to that location you're talking about.
Fisher's Point is farther down.
Fisher's Point is,
We could
Okay.
see that down on the map farther. That's Fisher's Point, if that's what he's talking about, is that road. So I'm not sure which.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, but that's not the one we're looking at that one, right?
right.
Okay. Oh, okay, so that's, okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Got your clarification, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Hey,
great.
Tammy, could you just reference that for the board up on the screen so we're all on the same page?
The location that he was speaking of was 8449
Mhm.
Fishers Point Boulevard,
Yep.
near the roundabout there, that was presented to the board last year.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Is there a motion to approve and just to be specific, the 844, oh, excuse me, not the 8564 location? Is there a motion? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, what I don't understand, and we've asked this before, is, so there was a request to move this to the trail, which appears to be, I don't know, 30 feet, 40 feet? I mean, there's no map, but just using general lot lines to the trail, which would put it, and replace an existing streetlight. And so the answer is just no, so I struggle with that to some extent, because we've been pretty consistent in terms of where we place these things and trying to move them out. And I respect the fact that it's off the 2 driveways, but at the same time, it's still in the front of 2 people's houses. I realize that the house to the north doesn't have a window there, but it's just unclear to me.
I don't disagree with you, Jeff. I guess I would ask Verizon, who's here, if they could speak to what the impediment is to move it It's probably more than 30 feet, because the road width alone would be probably 20 feet, but, you know,
Sure, okay.
60 to 100 feet to the trail section, which then would not impede anybody's home. Go ahead.
Good morning, my name is Russell Brown. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Clark, Quinn, Moses, Scott & Grahn, 320 North Meridian Street, Suite 1100 in Indianapolis. I'll answer your question, but I'm going to make a statement, since I haven't had the chance to be in front of you. I want to make sure we get this on the record as it relates to this case and all other cases. Despite Verizon Wireless's ongoing objections to this process, we have engaged in good-natured conversations with staff and impacted homeowners associations. At significant expense, Verizon has considered reasonable relocation requests and accommodated them when relocation is not technically infeasible. As you know, statute does prohibit permitting authorities from requiring an applicant to provide certain data for a specific site. While Verizon has attempted to provide information about desired residential coverage areas for specific sites, the absence of specific data from why a move of X feet, as requested here, would create a hardship to Verizon Wireless's coverage objectives and or technical feasibility is not, in Verizon Wireless's view, a permitted rationale for denials. Further, none of the sites before you today have adopted neighborhood-specific guidelines regarding the preferred locations or reasonable aesthetics as provided under statute, specifically Indiana 8.1.32.3.15E, as adopted by the Indiana General Assembly this spring. Without these neighborhood-specific guidelines, outcomes and requests for relocation and modification appear arbitrary, as they prevent Verizon Wireless as the applicant to differentiate problematic sites from non-problematic sites or approvable sites from unapprovable sites. We would request that in these locations, the coverage objective here is to the west. It is not. So any move further to the east disrupts that coverage objective. And that's why the request for movement cannot be accommodated in this request. Again, I don't know this lot width specifically, but my guess is that request for move is more than 100 feet. It's not 20 or 30 feet. It's a pretty sizable move in these directional type of application processes. So I know has been discussed to you before, when you move one, it doesn't impact one site, it impacts multiple sites. Given that there is an existing network largely in place in this neighborhood already, that movement would impact the ability to provide the coverage needs here. So that's why the request cannot be accommodated.
Thank you. So for the residents and folks watching or streaming, as we've said many times before, we're walking a fine line, as the gentleman just came up and postured and prognosticated about the potential for litigation against the city if we were to do anything that weighed in the side of the interests of the resident instead of the federal or state legislation or their perception of how it was implemented. We could find ourselves in a lawsuit. So that's the constant push-pull that we have, that this board has to consider, and the tightrope that we have to walk. That being said, we will certainly continue to try to look out for the best interest of our residents in regard to these issues. It's unfortunate that Verizon finds it a hardship to answer the question as to why they can't move the tower X number of feet. So with that, we'll just have to make our own considerations moving forward. Is there a motion on this item?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff. Is there a second? Second. Second by Jason. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on, a request to approve residential waivers to install small cell facilities in the Pines.
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers Engineering Department. Before you is one location within the neighborhood of the Pines. Verizon Wireless has submitted for a permit, 9849 Pine Ridge North Drive. There was another location presented before you last year that was approved and has since been constructed at 9711. The Verizon and city staff spoke with the Pines HOA mid-August to discuss the proposed location. The HOA and property management group was generally okay with the location as long as it moved a little closer to the mailboxes. It is replacing an existing street light in that area. The HOA just requested it a little closer to the mailboxes in order to provide a little extra additional lighting in that area.
Did they acquiesce to that request?
Mhm. Yes, they did.
Is there anyone here from the Pines that would like to speak? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The final one on the docket today is request to approve residential waivers to install small cell facilities in Northfield Estates.
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers Engineering Department. Before you are two locations within Northfield Estates that Verizon Wireless has submitted for a permit. These were originally brought to you earlier this year, last month I believe it was, and tabled at that particular time to have further discussions on 10660 Sherborne Road. That one was requested by the residents in the area to be moved farther to the south, to be closer to the pond in that area, just to the south of the last house on the west side of the road. Verizon was able to relocate it to that location, so it is just north of the tree line that you see on the west side of Sherborne. The location at 10660, there was no, the HOA had no concerns with that particular location.
Is there anyone from Northfield Estates that would like to speak today? Yes, ma'am, come on up. Oh. Excellent. Glad you like them. Okay. Nothing else, Tammy?
No.
I would just say to the legal representation of Verizon and the representatives from Verizon, although this might be costly and time-consuming for you, it shows and demonstrates that if we sit down with the HOAs and actually work collectively, we can actually come to a consensus and get these implemented. So I'm sympathetic for the financial burden that is caused by having to interact with our residents, but I do think you have a better outcome when you do it. So I appreciate your time and effort in that regard. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, folks, for coming out today, I very much appreciate it. Is there any other unfinished or new business?
No, I would just note for the record, I know Tracy's had some technology struggles here this morning. Not his efforts, he's been trying to figure them out, so don't know what is going to be recorded or live streamed. I know we're having difficulties with the network in general, and I think a lot of cities across the state are experiencing that right now. And so we'll do our best to get this up, but if not, we'll make sure that we have the minutes up and posted shortly thereafter.
Well, I mean, Facebook went down yesterday, so we'll cut them some slack. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second? Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned, thank you.